Happy 29th birthday to me. I am blessed to experience another year of life. I have lived through 10,585 days. I've created a beautiful life and family for myself, and I finally feel like I'm falling into alignment with my purpose and I have a clear vision of who God created me to be.
A mother determined to get answers about her daughter's death leads to a major break in this already closed case, a confession from her killer.
Scrolling through endless feeds, we see radiant smiles, moments of joy, lives presented as perfect. It's easy to believe the image is the reality. In the world of April Holt, that image was one of warmth and light, a mother, a positivity coach. She shared faith and optimism with hundreds of thousands online. Her presence felt genuine, uplifting. But in July 2023, April's world abruptly went dark. She was found unresponsive in her home, the scene suggesting a private despair, a life tragically ended by her own hand. Authorities looked at the circumstances and determined her death was a suicide. A life dedicated to lifting others up, ending in such a solitary, desperate way? It defied belief for those who knew her best. Think about the people you know, the faces they show the world. Could you ever truly know the struggles hidden beneath the surface? For April's mother, Jamie Dickerson, there was no doubt. She knew her daughter. She knew April would never leave her two children behind. Her absolute certainty sparked a fight, a mission to uncover a truth buried deep beneath the surface of April's perfect online life. What really happened to April Holt? Her mother's battle would expose a devastating reality no one saw coming. Stay with us as we follow the clues and reveal the truth behind this online tragedy. The lessons are vital. If you feel the weight of this story, please show your support by hitting the like and subscribe button. Welcome to Whistles of True Crime, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most chilling true crime tales. If you crave real-life crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat, you are in the right place. Kindly subscribe to this channel now, and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. Antioch, Tennessee, part of the Nashville area, is a community with its own parks and local life. However, it faces challenges with a crime rate higher than the national average, including incidents of gun violence. This provides a difficult backdrop for the events that unfolded there. April Lynn Holt was a woman who made her mark at 29, born in Florida in 1994. Her life concluded in Antioch, Tennessee, in July of 2023. By profession, April was a self-employed lash technician, a craft requiring personal connection and skill, but she cultivated another space where she connected with a far wider audience, the online world. As a positivity coach and social media influencer, particularly on platforms like TikTok, she gathered an audience of over 200,000 followers. Her content focused on faith, family, and a deep commitment to uplifting others. She shared messages of personal growth and manifestation, aiming to inspire. The picture she painted online was consistent. A life filled with love, light, and optimism. Central to April's existence were her two children, her daughter, Serenity, who was 12, and her son, Denzel, who was 8. April's role as a mother was not just a part of her identity, it was the very core of who she was. She shared a close bond with her mother, Jamie Dickerson. Jamie knew April intimately, her character, her aspirations, her devotion to her children. This connection would become crucial. April's husband, Donovan Holt, also featured in the online narrative. Their marriage was frequently presented as a loving and supportive partnership, another element contributing to the seemingly perfect life shared with the world. This was the carefully built image, the life April presented. It was compelling, inspirational, seemingly untouched by hardship. But this public picture stood in stark contrast to a hidden reality that was already beginning to crumble. The world April presented online was one of comfort and partnership, but behind that composed presentation, April's life held difficulties invisible to her followers. Their marriage, like many, had faced its share of challenges. records indicate a prior separation occurred in 2021, suggesting underlying issues had existed for some time, even if that earlier break was described differently.
Okay, so the story is that we are getting divorced because of our decision. It's my best friend. I still love her to death. Like, we still got a child together. We still gonna be hanging out. I'm probably gonna see her most days of the week, but at the end of the day, we got shit to do. That's it. You feel me? She has a path to go. I got a path to go, but I pass to pay her live. We always gonna be next to each other.
Yeah.
And who's to say what's gonna happen in the future? All we know is right now. Right now, it's the best. I mean, real talk, it's the best decision for both of us. For her to do what she needs to do, for me to do what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
we can grow and heal and elevate. No hard feelings. This is not a messy divorce or anything like that. We don't do that. This is, like I said, like he said, this is my best friend at the end of the day. He has been before the relationship, before the marriage, before the kid. So nothing's gonna change that. So
like, look at her, bro. Like, I would never lose this forever. For real. And look.
So we're good, y'all. We're
for
good.
Real though, like for real.
Promise.
Then, a crucial step was taken. Just 2 weeks before her life ended, April requested a formal divorce from Donovan. This was a significant decision, marking a clear intention to change her path, and it was a decision kept entirely private from the large audience who saw only her happy posts. April's mother, Jamie, understood the weight of this action. She knew April had considered leaving Donovan before, returning each time, but Jamie sensed that this time, April was resolute, ready to move forward for good. Direct evidence emerged that contradicted the online image of harmony. April's grandson later recounted witnessing a heated argument between April and Donovan on the very day April died, a clear sign of discord in the home, starkly different from the peace April shared online. Adding to the unsettling picture of their final days, it was discovered that Donovan had pawned his wedding ring in the week leading up to April's death, an action that, in retrospect, raises questions about his state of mind and intentions. The carefully maintained appearance of a happy marriage was fracturing. April was taking definitive steps towards a new life. Away from the conflict she faced privately, she was building a path towards freedom, but tragically, she wouldn't live to see it completed. It was a day in July 2023 when the image April Holt presented online collided violently with a grim reality. The quiet of her residence in Antioch, Tennessee, was broken.
July 28th, she woke up, drank her coffee, journaled as usual, enjoying her peaceful morning, hugged and kissed her 7-year-old son, Denzel, and her husband then went into the bathroom and began to argue and fight. My 7-year-old grandson put his ear to the door and heard his parents fighting, and he looked underneath to see both of their feet. He then listened some more, but he couldn't understand what they were saying, and so he then ran to his room. His dad shortly after came into his room, and he got him dressed and he fed him. And he then had him go check on his mom. He asked him to go check on his mom. 911 was then called. We got to the hospital, and she had no brain function and no blood flow to her brain. We did not find out about the bag, which was not disclosed to us, for over 6 hours. In that time, her husband had went back to the apartment 2 times, not knowing I don't know what he was doing there. On July 31st of 2023, my daughter was pronounced dead, and I want justice.
April was found unresponsive inside her home. The circumstances were deeply unsettling. She was discovered with a plastic bag secured tightly around her head and neck with tape. It was a profoundly disturbing scene, the deliberate nature of the setup immediately raising questions. Initial reports varied slightly regarding who made the discovery. Some accounts mentioned her young son, while others stated her husband, Donovan, claimed to have found her. This small inconsistency was an early point of note. April was rushed to Southern Hills Hospital. Her condition upon arrival was severe, indicating the extreme gravity of what had occurred. Donovan Holt reportedly told responding officers that he had found April unresponsive in the shower with a bag over her head. This statement would form the basis of the initial understanding of the events. Authorities began their assessment of the scene, taking statements and gathering information based on The initial appearance and the accounts provided, they started to form a conclusion about April's death, a conclusion that would soon send shockwaves through her mother's world. Following their initial assessment, the authorities reached a formal conclusion regarding April's death. In November of 2023, the medical examiner's office issued their official ruling. April's death was officially classified as a suicide. The cause was determined to be complications resulting from suffocation. With this ruling in place, the Metro Nashville Police Department and city prosecutors concluded their investigation. The case was officially closed. Suicide. Case closed.
They closed April's case. DA and everybody agreed to close it. I got up, marched out of that room, and I said, I'm not done. I'm going to keep investigating.
The public tragedy, seen through the lens of the official inquiry, was deemed a personal end, self-inflicted, but deep in her spirit, April's mother, Jamie, felt an absolute conviction. This ruling was wrong, her daughter did not do this, and her fight for the real truth was just beginning. From the moment she heard the news, Jamie Dickerson had an absolute conviction. Her daughter, April, did not take her own life. Jamie knew April's devotion to her children was too profound. She would never choose to leave them. This certainty became Jamie's driving force. Jamie saw April in the hospital while she was still on life support.
From my mama's heart, I just knew that she didn't do this to herself.
What she observed with her own eyes directly challenged the idea of a self-inflicted death. Jamie saw bruises on April's neck and ankles, broken blood vessels on her cheeks, and a gash on her inner thigh. These were injuries inconsistent with suicide. From the very beginning, Jamie conveyed her belief to the police. She told them April was the victim of a homicide. Jamie's certainty stemmed from her deep understanding of April. April was a positive person who embraced life. Furthermore, April's recent decision to request a divorce from Donovan just 2 weeks before her death indicated a desire to build a new future, not end her life. The information Jamie received from her grandson, who witnessed a fight between April and Donovan the day she died, further solidified her doubts about the official narrative and Donovan's account. Jamie shared this vital information with authorities. Donovan's behavior also struck Jamie as unusual. His demeanor during their initial phone call felt like a panic upset, and at the hospital, he appeared agitated, pacing, and notably allowed Jamie to make all the medical decisions for April. Fueled by her unwavering conviction and the unsettling circumstances, Jamie refused to accept the police's conclusion. She made her intention clear: I'm not done, I'm going to keep investigating. This was the start of a relentless pursuit that would last over a year. Jamie dedicated herself tirelessly, spending hours every day for months. She meticulously reviewed police reports and notes from April's autopsy, determined to find any inconsistencies or overlooked details. She was looking for the truth hidden in plain sight. The official investigation was over, the case closed. But Jamie's had just begun. Armed with a mother's absolute certainty and a determined focus on details, she started examining information that others had seemingly disregarded. Fueled by her certainty, Jamie Dickerson began the difficult process of trying to get authorities to reconsider April's case. She persistently reached out to the district attorney and the police department, requesting numerous meetings. Despite her tireless efforts, she felt her concerns were initially disregarded, her questions largely unanswered. Undeterred, Jamie found ways to compel a closer look. She filed complaints and sought support from groups like the Community Review Board. Her actions eventually pushed the Metro Nashville Police Department to launch an internal investigation into their handling of the case. This investigation was a direct result of Jamie's persistence. As Jamie reviewed the initial reports herself, and as her efforts prompted internal reviews, crucial inconsistencies began to emerge. The visible injuries Jamie had seen on April, bruises on her neck, ankles, a gash on her thigh, didn't fully align with the initial autopsy report, a detail Jamie had to specifically bring to the attention of authorities. There were other details that didn't fit the narrative of suicide. Donovan pawning his wedding ring the week before April's death was a fact that raised significant questions about his state of mind and potential motives, and her grandson's testimony, witnessing the argument between April and Donovan on the day she died, stood as powerful contradictory evidence that Jamie had provided from the outset. Jamie's unwavering persistence was slowly but surely forcing doors open. She was bringing overlooked details and contradictions into the light, pieces that suggested the initial conclusion was fundamentally flawed. She was compiling a compelling challenge to the official ruling. But the final, irrefutable piece of evidence she needed wouldn't be found in the reports she meticulously reviewed, but in one that existed because of the internal investigation she had compelled into existence. The internal police investigation, initiated because of Jamie Dickerson's unwavering efforts, produced a detailed, 47-page report. Within its contents lay the truth Jamie had fought so hard to uncover. The report contained crucial information about the materials found with April, the plastic bag and the tape used to secure it. Forensic analysis had been conducted on these items. The findings were absolute. The only fingerprints found on the plastic bag and the duct tape used around April's neck belonged solely to Donovan Holt. This was the irrefutable proof, forensic evidence directly linking Donovan to the very items used in April's death. This finding made the initial ruling of suicide virtually impossible. It was a scientific confirmation of everything Jamie had felt in her heart. After months of being met with doubt and dismissal, Jamie finally held the undeniable proof in her hands. A mother's certainty, validated by hard evidence. The truth was no longer a suspicion. It was clear and absolute. April Holt had not taken her own life. She had been murdered, and the evidence pointed directly to her husband. Now, Jamie had the agonizing task of confronting the man who had taken her daughter's life and concealed the truth. Armed with the irrefutable fingerprint evidence from the internal investigation report, Jamie Dickerson knew exactly what she had to do next. She confronted Donovan Holt directly. She sent him a screenshot page from the 47-page report, the page detailing the fingerprints found on the bag and tape. With the evidence presented, Jamie gave Donovan a stark choice. Confess to her about what truly happened to April, or she would take the evidence directly to the cold case department and demand a full, reopened investigation. Under this intense pressure, Donovan responded. He called Jamie, and in that call, the truth April's mother had known all along finally emerged. Donovan confessed. He admitted to strangling April. He then described how he dragged her body to the shower and staged the scene, securing the plastic bag with tape over her face to make it appear as though she had died by suicide. Crucially, Jamie had the presence of mind to record this phone call, capturing Donovan's confession. Armed with the recorded admission, Jamie immediately contacted the Metro Nashville Police Department. She provided them with the recording. This undeniable evidence prompted them to launch a new, official investigation into April's death.
It's so important to be intentional about what you're doing, especially what you're doing in front of your kids, in front of your friends, in front of your family, in front of the people who are watching you and looking to you for inspiration, motivation, encouragement, whatever that may be. People are looking up to you, whether you believe it or not, whether they admit it or not. People are constantly watching you. And the only thing you can do is be a true reflection of yourself. But then choosing what that reflection is so important, because a lot of the times we just carelessly move through life acting a damn fool. For what? And it's like, that's not the message I want to leave behind. That's not what I want to be known for. I want to be known to being a motivational person, an inspirational person, a positive person in people's life. I want to help people reach their goals. I don't want to hold back anybody. I don't know, it's just being intentional about the influence that you have on the people's lives around you. That's all.
Later, in July, Donovan also confessed to detectives with the MNPD Cold Case Unit in Texas, admitting responsibility for strangling his wife. During his confession to the police, Donovan offered a controversial account. He claimed April's death was accidental, stating it occurred during a sex act that went wrong. This specific claim would become a factor in the later legal proceedings. Based on Donovan's confession, the official cause of death in April's autopsy was changed from complications of suffocation to strangulation. The manner of death was officially reclassified from suicide to homicide. April's mother's fight had validated the tragic truth. The horrifying truth was finally undeniable. April Holt was not a suicide victim. She was a murder victim, killed by the man who had shared her life and projected an image of partnership to the world. While the truth was unmasked, the fight for true justice for April was far from over. This turn of events, moving from a ruling of suicide to a confession of strangulation and staging, is profoundly shocking and heartbreaking. What are your thoughts on Donovan's confession, and specifically on his claim that April's death was accidental? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Your engagement helps us share these important stories and lessons.
A mother determined to get answers about her daughter's death leads to a major break in this already closed case. A confession from her killer.
As News 2's Corey Johnson explains, that mom hopes her story will inspire others to keep fighting, even when all hope seems lost.
July 29th, 2023, I get a call that my daughter isn't breathing.
April Holt died July 31st, 2023. Her mother, Jamie Dickerson, sat down with News 2, recalling the days and conversations before the 29-year-old mother of two died at a Nashville hospital.
I've never seen somebody without a soul in them. But I knew, I opened her eyes and I knew, I was like, she's not in there anymore. I just knew, I'm her mom.
According to Metro Police, April was found with a bag over her head, duct tape around her neck in the bathroom of her Antioch home. The autopsy report in November 2023 listing her death a suicide.
Her husband was acting very, very strange. He was holding his head, he was rocking, pacing.
Dickerson says April's son found her unconscious in the bathroom. She also learned that her husband, Donovan Holt, had pawned April's wedding ring a week prior to her death. Dickerson went to police with the suspicion her daughter was murdered. For months, she met with police about the evidence. She tells News 2 the Community Review Board also looked into the investigation nearly a year after April's death.
They said they didn't see any signs of trauma, even though she had bruises, which I had to bring to their attention, even though the autopsy stated she had bruises on her neck, her wrists, her thighs, her ankles. She even had a gash on her inner thigh. I met with the DA. I met with everybody I possibly could. Everybody was like, oh, we don't see enough evidence. We don't see enough evidence. And they just let him be free.
More than a year after April's death came the turning point in her efforts to get justice for her daughter. It came in the form of a confession.
He just goes into how he killed her, and he described how he killed her, that he strangled her, and that then he didn't know what to do, so he drug her to the shower, put the bag over her head and taped it and made it look like a suicide.
Dickerson brought the confession to Metro Police, who released a statement Friday saying 33-year-old Donovan Holt was arrested in San Antonio, Texas in connection to April's death. He'd also confessed to Metro detectives. Authorities say he's indicted for reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. On April's autopsy, the cause of death has been changed from suffocation to strangulation and from suicide to homicide.
I think it should be first-degree murder. I need to get these charges upped to what they should be.
Dickerson says she's now fighting for full custody of April's son.
And I said, I'm not going to stop fighting. And I didn't. Even when the case was closed, I know that she would be the one that's just like, you did it, Mom. You did it.
Corey Johnson, News 2.
Following his confession and the reclassification of April's death as a homicide, Donovan Holt, then 33 years old, was arrested in San Antonio, Texas, on September 19, 2024. He was subsequently indicted by a grand jury on specific charges: reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. In November 2024, Donovan Holt entered a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to all three charges he faced. For Jamie Dickerson, April's mother, the charges themselves were a source of profound disappointment. She had hoped for charges that she felt truly reflected the severity of Donovan's actions, specifically first-degree murder, which carries a significantly longer potential prison sentence, and child endangerment, given that April and Donovan shared a young son. Reports indicated that the district attorney's office objected to the plea deal on these lesser charges, but the judge ultimately overruled their objection, allowing the plea to stand. On February 18, 2025, Donovan Holt received his sentence. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, followed by 8 years of community corrections. This outcome highlighted a difficult disparity. Donovan confessed to strangling April and deliberately staging the scene to look like a suicide. Yet, the legal process resulted in a guilty plea to reckless homicide, implying a lesser degree of intent than Jamie felt was appropriate, and a relatively short prison sentence for taking a life and concealing the truth. While some reports suggested the victim's family agreed with the sentence handed down after the plea deal on these charges, Jamie had previously expressed her clear shock and disappointment that the initial charges prevented the possibility of pursuing first-degree murder. For Jamie, the guilty plea to reckless homicide and the resulting sentence felt like a deep injustice. The man who took her daughter's life and orchestrated a deception would serve only 2 years in prison, but Jamie's promise to April, to continue fighting for justice and honoring her memory, remained unbroken. In the aftermath of April's death and the legal proceedings, Jamie Dickerson's primary focus shifted to caring for her daughter's 2 children. She is actively seeking full custody of April's young son, Denzel. To support April's children and ensure her memory shines brightly, Jamie established a GoFundMe campaign, April Holt's Murder Family Support, which successfully raised over $7,000. These funds are helping care for the children and support a project close to Jamie's heart. Jamie is creating a grief center in April's name called Grieve With Me. Her vision is to provide a supportive space for people navigating loss. The center will operate as a nonprofit, offering services like grief counseling classes, youth grief groups, art therapy, and plans for future camps, all free of charge to ensure anyone in need can access support. Securing a building for the center in November marked a significant step in making this vision a reality. Beyond establishing the grief center, Jamie is advocating for broader changes to the system to better support victims and grieving families. She hopes to create a new state law that will simplify the process for families seeking justice for loved ones. Jamie also remains committed to her personal fight to see the charges against Donovan Holt upgraded from reckless homicide to first-degree murder, still believing the current charges do not fully capture the gravity of his actions. Jamie's ultimate aim is to ensure April's memory endures and that her story serves as a force for positive change, raising awareness and providing help to others experiencing similar loss and injustice. As we reflect on April's story, from her bright online presence to the hidden reality, knowing what we know now, do those early smiles we saw online look the same? The story of April Holt is a stark reminder of the distance that can exist between a carefully constructed online life and a hidden reality. April, who projected light and positivity to hundreds of thousands, was tragically a victim of domestic violence in her own home. Her case also underscores the critical need for thorough and unbiased investigations, particularly when circumstances involve intimate partner relationships. The initial misjudgment of her death as a suicide allowed the truth to remain hidden, if only temporarily. But the truth did emerge, overwhelmingly due to the unwavering determination of April's mother, Jamie Dickerson. Driven by a mother's love and an absolute refusal to accept the initial ruling, Jamie transformed her grief into relentless action. Her tireless efforts exposed the deception and brought the facts to light. While Jamie's investigation led to a confession and a conviction, the legal outcome brought a complex form of closure. The truth about April's death was revealed, but for Jamie, the plea deal and resulting sentence did not represent full justice for the life taken and the pain inflicted.
I would do anything to have her back. Anything. She's my baby.
Nothing could bring her daughter back, but Dickerson could bring her daughter justice.
What led you to believe that Donovan killed April and it wasn't a suicide?
I knew that April was unhappy. I knew that she requested a divorce 2 weeks prior, and then she was dead 2 weeks later.
Dickerson spent months doing her own investigation after she says police refused to believe her.
This is the first autopsy stating that she had put the bag over her head and that it was suicide.
The key piece of evidence is this. Only Donovan Holt's fingerprints were found on the bag and tape.
That is when I confronted him and he confessed to me. And so that is when I went to the police.
Metro detectives questioned the husband and got a confession. Holt was arrested in Texas last week. He's charged with reckless homicide, false reporting, and tampering with evidence. The autopsy report has been amended to reflect the cause of death as homicide instead of suicide.
I feel like they've failed my family. I have had to fight at the same time as grieve my daughter.
April's story lives on, not just as a tragic account, but through the strength of her children and the creation of the Grieve With Me Center. Born from profound loss, the center stands as a source of support, turning personal tragedy into a way to help others navigate their own grief. April's life serves as a poignant message. It reminds us that hidden struggles can exist even behind the brightest online smiles. Her story calls for awareness, urging us to recognize the signs of domestic violence and understand the potential chasm between appearance and reality. April's story serves as a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and the reality of domestic violence often remains hidden, even in plain sight. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out. Resources are available to support you. Jamie's courageous fight for justice and truth continues. What do you think about the outcome of this case, the charges, and the sentence? Share your thoughts and stand with us by leaving a comment below. Don't let April's story, and the vital lessons it holds, end here. Kindly subscribe to Whistles of True Crime to continue uncovering hidden truths and learning from real-life events. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. This story reveals a brutal truth about hidden lives. No, seriously, this story reveals a brutal truth that we must acknowledge about hidden lives. Our hearts go out to April's family and friends during this incredibly difficult time. We are deeply saddened by the loss of such a promising young woman and hope you find strength and comfort in the memories you shared with her. Her light will not be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you crave to see more stories like this, where ordinary lives are shattered by extraordinary events, kindly subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, so that you be the first to know when we drop our next video. More answers waiting to be discovered. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.